Welcome to the Tomsic Analysis with David Tomsic, a revolution in news and entertainment.
Well, the 2024 presidential selection is over, and Donald Trump has been selected the 47th president of the United States. What could go wrong? Hi, David Tomsic here. It's November 11th, 2024. Happy Veterans Day to all those who served. Thank you. Those who served both past and present. And we salute those who have moved on. Anyway, I had a live stream November 5th. And early on, I was in communique with some people that we had really formed a little election posse. And we all knew before this that Kamala Harris had no shot. You might say, well, how did you know that? I knew. I think most people should have known. But of course, people who get so tied up in elections and their guy and their girl, they really don't see some of the flags, the red flags that are out there. Now, the Democratic Party has collapsed. This was one of the worst run campaigns in history. Now, I'm not blaming Kamala Harris. Now, there's a lot of people still on Facebook, and I hate to say this because I always pick on these people. Christians. I'm a Christian. They're out there still gloating. They're passing the happy pills around. It's a new age in America of righteousness. God has spoken. A lot of this stuff that personally I think's off the wall. As a Christian, I don't look at things that way. This was a selection. We are in the midst of a collapse. We're in the midst of a global realignment that will not smile upon the American government, no matter who's elected. So let's look at what happened with the Democrats first. First of all, their platform sucked. It's an old platform. They're still hanging on to the era of the Clintons and the Obamas and Biden's own era of politics. And of course, they didn't realize the shift in America. They don't realize that the left-wing crazies that infiltrated the Democratic Party have now classified the Democrats as a whole as murderers, killers, baby killers, you name it. These people have been demonized with, okay, whatever title you want to put on it. Now, Kamala Harris never had a shot, and she was kind of out of her league. Let's face it, Joe Biden probably should have been pulled earlier, and maybe should have not be left to run at all in this particular selection process. And she had to deal with being forced in there. It split the party right off the bat. And let's not forget that she was using Biden's platform, not her own. So she was stuck to it. No matter which she truly believed, doesn't matter. That's the platform she had. And they, of course, gave up on the people they were to serve. Let me read a couple of things, so hold on. Stay there. Yeah. This is a guy named Shermichael Singleton, a CNN contributor who has worked on 3 different campaigns. He warned that Democrats need to do a great deal of soul searching. The Democratic Party of the past is no longer the Democratic Party of today, he said. Now, another person chimed in, a well-known person, Bernie Sanders. Bernie said, he slammed the disastrous campaign and accused the leadership of abandoning its base. He said, it comes as no surprise that the Democratic Party, which has abandoned the working class, would find that the working class has abandoned them. So before we move on, whoever voted for Trump, because there were a lot of Democrats that did, and of course the Christian Nationalists, the Evangelicals, your guy won, not because he's the greatest candidate in the world. Of course, he made a lot of promises. As a political atheist, I can tell you, I don't listen to promises because most of them, over years, when you go back, very few are fulfilled, especially in the way that they're claiming. So I digress there. But you had one of the worst candidates in history. You had a president drop out of the election midstream. You had no continuity. party that was fractured. And of course, a party still buried in their own sort of debacled platform over the last 10 years. Now, LGBTQ+, transgenderism, these things also helped tank the party. Now, these aren't huge issues, although I know that Donald Trump came out right away and is going to make made a declaration that he will sign an executive order against transgender teaching in schools, I think. I think that was it. I'm glad. I'm going to go on record. I'm glad. But I also understand why he did it. See, you're going to start seeing these declarations, these coming executive orders. They're going to touch base. They're going to touch the hearts of people who voted for him. See, he's for us. And he's doing what he promised. These are all no-brainer things. Of course, the no-brainer part was why the Democratic Party stuck with it for so long. But I digress. The truth is that there's a lot of promises, low-hanging fruit that he's going to try to capture. And I'm okay with some of that. I am. My problem is the fact that it's executive orders that these people are using. Now, I know many of you don't seem to think that's a problem, except when it's the other party. But again, this is governance by decree. Does this solve the bigger problem? Excuse me. Well, not really. The fact that there's still a massive amount of people forcing transgenderism on the American public via Hollywood and movies, music, and you name it. Go down the list. Again, I say that if you are against these things, talk to your children, minister to your children, and tell them, hey, this is, not what we believe. Okay? You've got to start turning the spigot off early, and don't allow these other forces to sway them. That's how things really should work. But I digress, because people rather have government, and I'm going to get to that big issue. Okay, so we know that the Democrats collapsed. What does this mean for the Republicans and for Donald Trump? Now, as I mentioned, there are happy pills flowing everywhere. Okay? I'm not so thrilled either way. And I said this was a debacle from the start. These people were the candidates selected by their party, and Kamala Harris sure was. You're now the front runner. You're now our choice to run for president. And Donald Trump really was the one person that all the right-wing extremists loved. And of course, those people that filled in behind them, the people that just voted for the fact that they were tired of hearing about Joe Biden and the issues that he had and the exaggerations that were really portrayed with Joe Biden's administration. I will tell you this, that as a quintessential expert here, I've trashed a lot of things, but none of these were as bad as these right-wing people are saying. If you listen to them, you think tomorrow, and they're still on there talking about disaster because they're out to get Trump, and they're going to try so hard to tank the economy before he gets in, and they're going to leave him with the war in Ukraine. That's the way life works. There's no conspiracy here. And I'm a conspiracy guy. Listen, the exaggeration on both sides was bad, but from the right, it was epic. Billions, trillions of immigrants coming in. Trillions. I got bad news for you. You need immigrants in this country. Now, maybe we can debate on how they got here and how many you need. But this country won't run without immigrants. In fact, my grandparents were immigrants. Okay? They were Italians, and of course, what were they called? WAPs, and, they were looked down upon. But you know what? It's going to be an issue doing what Donald Trump wants to do. And I'm going to get off course here. This whole deportation thing is going to be a big deal. And I heard through the budget office that this will cost billions of dollars to attempt. I don't know. I mean, if there's a criminal, get him out of here. Find him and get him out of here. I don't know what you're going to do in any other instance here. And that's going to be a thing we'll see. But I will tell you that it's not going to be as easy as you right-wing nuts and other people that hate immigration and hate these people. And I'm saying hate because it's not a strong enough word. I've listened. Unlike a lot of podcasters, I've talked and listened to people. I'm here to tell you, hate is the word. Racism is the word. Yes. And as a white guy, I'm embarrassed for a lot of these white Christian people that really just have no place for anybody but the things they believe. This is an issue with me, and it's a growing issue with me because right now there's this euphoria that a new America is coming. Now, let me get to that. See, what we're seeing is a different type of change. For decades, we've had a pendulum, okay? It's called basically a political pendulum. It goes back and forth. The Republicans had a disaster back in the 90s, was it? I think, where they collapsed. They had to rebuild themselves. But you see, there's a lot of money involved in these politics. In fact, more billionaires were involved in the election this year than anybody. Disgusting billionaires that got involved with this election. Elon Musk, disgusting to me, paying $1 million here in Pennsylvania. Get out of my state. He's going to be in charge of business and how things are funded. The king of using federal grants to build his business is in charge. These people it's about billionaires. And that's my point. They both had them. Okay? They both had the billionaires. And that's what this has always been about. It's the billionaires and the elite that really control the course of our country. Now, Trump wants to, of course, be more fair in things. The deal here is that really what's in the cards for the American people? See, to me, if you want to talk about the Christian side of this, I don't see anything that says we're going to have this great leader in America because America is the greatest country in the world and it should be, and we should be at the top. And our belief system will be basically shouted out to the four corners of the earth. Well, you hear these people talk about Christianity, but you never hear any preaching. The whole idea behind Christianity is not to gain power, it's to spread the gospel. And you're not going to hear any of that. Christians just want their way. We don't like homosexuals. Okay, that's fine. As a Christian, I disagree with that lifestyle. I don't hate those people. Same with immigrants. I go to Sheets, there's dozens of them come in, always been polite. They speak Spanish, I don't understand them. I've never had an issue. I've smiled, we've kind of waved, and we see each other every day. Okay, they might be illegal. I don't know that they're not. But, okay, they're working somewhere, paying taxes. America, the birth rate is at an all-time low. We don't have enough people being born to replace the people that we're losing to maintain our societal structure. But we want to get rid of everybody else. Immigrants were a huge part of this country. Now, maybe too many came in. Maybe. I don't know how many, and I'm not going to exaggerate what I do and don't know. A lot of the things that were said, I understand from people on the ground, are very, very, very greatly exaggerated. Believe what you want. This is a podcast. You can believe what you want, and you can comment and tell me what you think and tell me what you know. But what we're seeing is something totally different. You see, the Democrats, everybody looked at as communists, socialists and communists. Mostly in this country, what you really saw, and if you get past the Levines of the world, the idiots like that, the haters, these haters on the right, and there's plenty of them, plenty of disgusting right-wing haters on the right. When you get past that, you realize that we're in the midst of a change from really the socialistic side of the Democratic Party. It never got to communism. And that word's dropped again as a fear tactic. Okay? You've had socialism since the age of Social Security. You're never going to get around that, people, so grow up. I digress. So you had now a swing. Now, those of you that understand that a one world government's coming, those of you that understand as a Christian that outside of the dispensationalism craziness that I don't agree with, outside of that, there is still a time that Christ is coming back. There will be a one world government. There will be a push to control people. We're already there here in the United States, and Donald Trump's not going to change that. The security state's only going to grow under him. And old JD, he's a tech guy, and he's part of that system. They're going to grow their control of you. Watch through executive orders. See, it's going to start because we have to get bad guys. We have to watch out for terrorists. They all use the same terminology. Terrorists. Well, I'm going to go on record. Their definition of terrorist is different than my definition of terrorist. Okay? So let's get that straight. Most of the people they call terrorists aren't. And coming to a town near you, you're a terrorist. Okay? Based on the laws that are already there and the laws that Trump wants to expand. Rough up people. Shut down protests. Yeah, let's break up the Constitution, which in a sense both parties wanted to do. But nothing is as scary to me as right-wing people who want to break the Constitution up because they want to go to a religious side of it. Think about that. That's going towards fascism. Nothing scares me more than fascism because it totally controls state, business, and of course, what you believe. And of course, this whole nationalist Christian thing, I heard from a retired colonel who worked in the White House, and he basically said, yeah, Christian nationalists are through the government. They want to bring in a legislated Christian government, Christian country, legislated. As a Christian, I worry about that because what are the terms of it? You're going to find that will be more like fascism than anything. People will squeal on you. They will degrade you like they do now. I watched a right-wing nutbag arguing with a Palestinian protester. It's just a guy screaming at him, had a pager. He was showing him a pager. Well, that's because Israel used pagers to blow up people in Lebanon and in other places. Well, guess what? They also blew up children and women and people. They're just bystanders. This is what this guy supported. So he was trash. I see some talk about garbage on the internet, about Joe Biden saying the term garbage. I want to go over that right now. The reason he said garbage because the Trump rally in New York was garbage. One of the comedians trashed Puerto Ricans, trashed other things, was warned not to. Actually, Joe Rogan warned the guy not to. He did it anyway because these are arrogant right-wing nutbags. And I'm a conservative guy. Believe me, I am. But I will refuse to deal with these people that make this stuff up and think somehow that they're better than everybody. Okay, so what we're heading for is this. And I'm going to make this as clear as I can. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. This is a well-known term. And I'm not going to get too deep because it can get really weirdly complicated. But what it really boils down to is what's happening right now in the United States. You see, you had this left-wing collapse and these evil left-wing crazies that are murdering babies and butchering people, forcing you to change your gender and all these things, bringing in billions of immigrants to destroy your culture. Every one of these Democrats and every one of these people are nuts, crazy. Put them all in jail, kill them all. I mean, I've heard much to that same phraseology from people. So this isn't made up. I'm not here telling you this is more than one person. And if you go over the internet, I know them personally, but you go over the internet, you find thousands of them. So this isn't fake news. Okay, so here's the Hegelian dialectic. Problem, number one. Reaction, number two. Solution. So what did we have in this election? A problem. Left-wing crazies, transgender people, LGBTQ people, all with a very small portion of the country. They're a very small portion in this country. So you'd think we could take care of that by just being, aware, but we don't. So these are evil people. Immigration. And of course, we got people that want to believe that they're going to shut down every church in the country. I've done a lot of research for 12 years. I know some problems occurred, and I know I disagreed with these people when they didn't allow churches to open, but that's a very small percentage. The way you hear it from the nutbags is that you're having people knock on your door today. Okay? You got just as much chance as a right-wing nutbag knocking on your door as you do a left. Just saying. And I know I'm saying nutbag, and I apologize. This is just a target-rich environment for me. So Hegelian dialectic. So what do we have? We have this evil left-wing problem, transgenderism, LGBTQism, plus, whatever it is, immigration, and you can add anything else to that list you want. That was the bad people. These are the enemies. This is the enemies list. Then you have reaction. People are appalled. They're after me. They're going to come and get us. People are so mean and evil. I mean, I've heard it all. Listen, I've said this before. What people have told me, people I know, have told me of the coming catastrophic events if we continue. All the stuff that they're doing to us right now, it's over. And I know thousands of people, between me and people in my family. I've never seen this. We hand out little Jesuses to people, thousands of them, and I've never seen anybody thrown back. I mean, I've never seen me attacked. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to attack me anyway, but I mean, here's my point. We've exaggerated everything. And so that's the reaction. The problem, the reaction. So what's the solution? Well, it isn't Jesus. They'll tell you it is, but it isn't, because, see, he chose somebody else to fix everything. So that's the solution. Here in this case, right now, today, the solution is Donald Trump. Okay? His first 4 years was a catastrophe. Now they're going to blame everything. It was a catastrophe. Joe Biden's 2.5, 3 years, 4 years is a catastrophe. Not as big as Trump's was, I'll be honest with you. His problem was he stuck with Ukraine. He escalated the war there. His problem was he continued Trump's spending patterns. I want to tell you, those of you that know it all, Trump spent the most money of just about any president in history. He called himself the king of debt. That was his own nickname. King of debt, $8.3 or $8.7 trillion he spent. And yet he blamed Kamala Harris and his people, blamed Kamala Harris for the inflation. This is too rich for me to even I laugh, because Kamala Harris had nothing to do with anything. Let me be honest. She was his borders. She had nothing to do with the border. She was a figurehead, just like Pence was a figurehead, and every other vice president in history was a figurehead. So, as soon as she became the nominee, she caused inflation. Well, the Donald caused inflation. He had pretty high, 6%. He had low GDP. His border thing, and he was going to build a wall, and Mexico paid for it. Well, we paid for it. His tariff war, we lost. He wants to start another one on two fronts, Mexico and China again. We'll lose that one. That's automatic. If you don't understand tariffs, that it's a tax on us. They're not going to pay anything. Oh, this is rich. And now the war. Okay, so he wants to stop the Ukraine war. Well, he can't. Well, and I've saw a lot of analysis on this. This is not something that, I mean, he's either got to continue to pour money into it, he's either can continue to send weapons, or, well, you can just stop. That's not so easy. Because here's the thing, and this may be my final big comment. When it comes to war, the United States, as I said in my video, Trump or Harris, does it really matter? I explained this factor. The United States was the only superpower in the world in 1992. We, in this country, those that run the deep state, those that ran the State Department, and everybody that's really involved in the government today knows that they must maintain that status as number one superpower. Now, as you know, that's not true anymore. There's multiple superpowers. So we went from a unipolar world to a multipolar world. more than one. And we're fighting these wars really as a combat against these people becoming more and more influential in the globe, making us less and less influential, costing us more and more, less and less people using the US dollar, less and less people fearful of us. So he's going to be the guy that either you let Ukraine die, okay? So giving Russia and the eastern countries, the BRICS nations, the southern globe, a big win, knocking our basically number one status backwards, okay? We're going to take a hit geopolitically and economically because Russia will win in Ukraine. So he's got to decide where he's at. I don't know what'll happen in Palestine, in the Middle East. I know he's not besties with Netanyahu, but he's besties with the people of Israel. Will he continue to fund that? Will he be able to pull out if Iran becomes the superpower of that region, which it will be? Again, United States influence will be destroyed again, giving Russia and China bigger foothold in the Middle East. See, this is a geopolitical game. It's a chess match. Understand, people, that he wants to talk the game, but he wants also to be the main man to keep us at the top. He's not going to be the guy that under his watch things fell apart. And as far as the economy, I'm going to leave with that. Lower taxes? He wants to have no taxes. Well, guess what? What do you think? Who's going to pay taxes? His rich people won't. That's who has to pay taxes. Okay? So he can make all these proposals, and he has a Republican Congress and a Republican House. It doesn't mean that it's going to work. It doesn't mean that it's going to be the new age of Americanism. And Christians somehow believe that they linked God, Jesus, the Bible, to the United States government. And if you don't think, those of you that think that's not right, you're wrong. Listen to yourselves. Look at the flags. Look at the paraphernalia that's sold. It's a business. Americanism and Christianity is a business. We're number one. God is for us. America is God's chosen country, next to Israel. Well, here's the thing. It's not. In fact, I believe it's the second Babylon or the third Babylon, whatever it is. I believe this country will be and continue to be under judgment, no matter who's president. And I believe the election of Donald Trump will just help this country move farther right towards fascism. Maybe not under Trump, but towards fascism. And maybe the next group as the tech groups control more and more power, as people who disagree with the government like me are now being booted out or banned. As we go more towards a one world government, that process has to start somewhere. And I believe it's starting today. That process towards that time, whether it's 10 years, 20 years, or 5 years, or 1 year, we're moving toward that one world government. And in this country, towards a more authoritarian type of government. You'll see that with Donald Trump. I mentioned that Judge Napolitano of Judging Freedom, ex-Fox News contributor, believes that we've selected here in the United States the first authoritarian leader that'll really make a difference in controlling and moving the country more towards the right, far right, than any other president in the United States' history. It's all the time I have. God bless you. Comment. Hey, live stream Thursday, 8 o'clock. Be there. And I will be posting this week more videos. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. God bless you again. And I'll see you next time right here on the Tomsic Analysis. Whew. I'm sure glad this election period is over. Crazy talk.
Thank you for watching the Tomsic Analysis. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this video, and keep an eye out for our next video.